So there's an old teaching story that most people are probably familiar with. There's a farmer, and one day his horse runs away, and his neighbor finds out about this and says, "Oh, how unfortunate! I'm so sorry that your horse ran away. It's such a bad thing." And the farmer says, "Not sure." And then the next day his horse comes back, and it has brought with it 2 other wild horses. And his neighbor sees this and says, "Oh, your horse brought back 2 other horses. Now you have 3 horses. That's how fortunate. That's such a great thing. I'm so happy for you." And the farmer says, "Not sure." And then the next day, his son is riding one of the new horses, and he falls off and breaks his arm. And the neighbor finds out and says, "Oh, it's so unfortunate. I'm so sorry that your son broke his arm. Such a bad thing." And then the farmer says, "Not sure." And then the next day, the army is coming through the town and drafting all able-bodied men to fight in a war nearby. But because his son is injured, then they don't draft him. And yeah, this is a great story, that illustrates a very important truth about life and the truth about everything in the world, that everything is uncertain and impermanent. And even though our mind has the habit of seeing things in the way that the neighbor in the story sees them, we're always seeing this thing is good, that thing is bad. Our mind is always assuming certainty and solidity in the world. But of course, when we really contemplate everything in the world, everything is always changing. And like the story illustrates, nothing is really ever certain. Something that we think is good, we're sure that it's good, it might actually, in the end, not be a good thing. And something we think that is bad, it may, somehow turn out in a good way. So this is, it's very relevant for our lives, because we live our lives trying to find happiness in the world and trying to find permanent, lasting, solid happiness in the objects and experiences of the world, as if the objects and the experiences are somehow solid and certain. We find things that make us happy, and we just assume that they'll always make us happy. We just assume that if something makes me feel a particular way today, then it will always make me feel this way. But of course, that's completely uncertain. The object itself and our access to it is completely uncertain and impermanent, but also the way that it makes us feel is completely uncertain. The next day we might be bored with that experience. We might not really receive much pleasure at all from it. So, because of this, then the Buddha has given us this path. The spiritual path is about finding happiness within ourselves. There's a turning away from the world of uncertainty and looking for the real lasting happiness that we're trying to find, looking for the same kind of happiness but looking in a different place and looking within ourselves. So offer this for reflection this morning.